everyone. This is This Week in Testing. My name is Gil Zilberfeld, and our camera crew is looking at this sign. So, for other people who are not interested in the other people sitting here, I'm going to read what the sign really says. It says, "We'll program for beer and some kind of HTML goo," which I'm not sure is XHTML well formed. I think we need a new sign, or replace our testing crew.
It's FHTML.
Okay, who else is here?
Well, I'm Dror Helper.
I am Doron Peretz.
Hold on.
And I'm Roy Oshrov. Ladies.
Okay, guys and girls, let's get started.
Yeah, okay,
shall
so,
we?
What's the first topic here tonight?
Roy, you go first.
Should we dedicate this program to the big T?
Let's.
Yeah? No. Close. Well, this program is dedicated to Toyota, the leading brand in quality and manufacturing, safety, and now
Safety is
car
Volvo.
crashes.
Those are the people that brought us lean, and I guess they're not testing the right thing. Like if you press the pedal, it doesn't get stuck to the bottom of the car.
Not on every car. So they have very good percentage of success, I think.
Yeah, only a couple of accidents. Doesn't mean there's
Yeah,
a
the
problem
majority actually
or
takes
anything.
time till their accidents.
So the big question is, what are we supposed to do now? Toyota has failed. So what should developers look blindly for around the world now? What methodology? What company should be the new super company to follow blindly?
I guess you should find the biggest book about programming or project methodology and buy it.
Let's say about unit testing. There is a great book about unit testing if you're interested.
Okay, we're not into pimping Roy's book right now. You should check out The Art of Unit Testing by Roy Oshrov.
So I have papers here, papers that are proof of Microsoft's idiocy. So let's start from the beginning. Let's turn the table back 5 years ago, I think, something like that. Team System 2000. Ooh, I think there were ghosts here. 2005, Visual Studio 2005, Team System. Microsoft inserted new features for unit testing, but you had to pay really for that. 3 years later, 2008, these unit testing features were about in everybody's hands because it was in Visual Studio 2008 Professional.
Our producers had too much white wine for our viewers back home. That's why Gil is distracted. Please go on.
And then, in 2008, Visual Studio 2008, the unit testing features were for everyone. They were in every SKU of Professional and up. SKU.
SKU. An edition of Visual Studio.
It doesn't really matter. There was
SKU.
that's a good one. I think there was a free acronym, and Microsoft just grabbed it and patented it. Anyway, I have here in my hands a blog post from, I think, a week and a half ago, from the Visual Studio Team Test program manager, who said that one of the features of the unit testing that Microsoft gave people, which are the private accessors, the ability to invoke and test private methods, will not be supported in 2010.
Was anyone using that?
Many people were.
But why?
We got quite a few support calls about this feature, and I'm glad. I'm glad it's over.
You need to explain what it is.
Why is that?
That's because you're not supposed to test private things.
For anyone that's not in the know-how, private accessors are classes Visual Studio created for you automatically that allowed you to call private methods on the objects under test as if they were accessible to the test code. And that's a bit problematic when you're talking about testability. And I don't understand. The community has a lot of solutions for private accessors, from rolling out your own using reflection to, I don't know, using object builder and building your own types.
That's funny you should mention it. First of all, Microsoft, people are laughing in the background. You see, if you wanted to create an Outlook add-in, which I did, and you wanted to test it, you can't because there are private methods. All the implementation is there. You can't really test it. So if Microsoft actually gives you the framework to build stuff that you can't test, I think that's a fail.
Well,
But since you already mentioned reflection, I'm going to quote the program manager who actually suggested that people will create a reflection framework that would be able to reflect off your code to access internal or private APIs. Now, it's really easy. It is, but nobody does that.
I would like to congratulate that program manager. What's his name again?
Oh, let me say. His name is Bruce Taimana, program manager.
congratulations, Bruce.
Bruce, meet me camera 3. Look, Bruce, between you and me, you know that people are going to do that because you said so on your blog, right?
Many people.
And you know, Bruce, that people are going to get into a lot of trouble because what you just said, right? So, Bruce, why don't you take some responsibility for what you just wrote and say, hey, you know what? We don't recommend that you test private stuff. What do you think about that?
Exactly, because that's the way to insert fragile test here. Just test your private stuff, and the minute they change, your test will stop working or compiling.
Well, but the way Gil said it earlier, if you want to, for instance, implement an Outlook add-in, you have to have private implementation. That's in the framework. So, Bruce, how about talking to your manager's manager and asking them to stop with the untestable frameworks?
And Bruce did. You won't believe what he said. Why was that? Lack of resources and time, well, we all like that. And new features by language teams. It seems that other people in Microsoft were actually bothering him to do other features instead of the important stuff. Go figure.
No, I got to get in here. Well, private accessors were just misused. I never saw a place with private accessors, a test with the private accessors that were actually needed. I know, well, testing Outlook is very important, but when you get to that point, you should probably
Also
enroll
Excel.
your own reflection framework for that thing.
Come on, nobody does that.
Well, but letting people test private things just because, well, majority of people that use private accessors just wrote bad tests.
Folks back home, if you're writing a private method, it's part of your class's internal implementation, and testing means that you're tying in your tests into internal implementation, which is not right. So avoid that if possible. Can we move on to the next subject?
No, I'm really sorry.
Okay, Gil, what do you have to say more about the first subject?
No, it was funny enough, I think. I think we can go into the next one.
Go, Bruce, and good luck in the future.